And obviously, if anybody has something to say, questions or comments.
Three people to start some questions.
Okay.
Just in case.
Whoa! Sorry?
So, I would like António Brito Guterres wouldn't be able to come, so I would ask Gabriela from Pátio Ambulante and to Sebastião from Collective Warehouse to explain just a little bit about what you are doing, because you are feeling this in the field. And then I would like to invite people just to participate and to ask so many questions or to make so many considerations that you would like to make.
Okay, so I'm Gabriela and I'm here with Agapi. We're both directing a project called Pátio Ambulante. And this started 3 years ago, and it's about like the first project was about curating in a collaborative way what to do in a patio with a neighborhood in Santa Marta here in Lisbon. From that, the goal was we wanted to start with a small step and then go on to deciding together what to build and how to change a space and making collaborative building. And it's been 3 years, and now we are working in a neighborhood near Intercampus, doing a park like the ones we've seen here in a collaborative manner. And I wanted to say thank you very much for showing us this tool, also because we think a lot about how to when we ask the question like what do you want, what could we build together, many questions arise from materials, knowledge, what can the knowledge that we need to share, and the time that people can give. So there are so many issues that come together, and sometimes we have little time and also low budgets, and so we are also in need of tools to be able to process all these issues. About the question that maybe, I don't know if you had something in mind that you want to say first, or
maybe like that our project was also part of the participatory budget from Lisbon, and we made a proposal. The proposal here, I don't know if it everywhere works like this, but you make a proposal, then it goes to the second step, and then people of Lisbon can vote for it. So we had enough votes to get funding, and this is also why and how we work. Like, of course, you need money and time and investment. So we do a lot of different projects that we invite artists to do art in a participatory manner with people from the neighborhood. And it's a very nice exchange that happens when it actually develops in such a way.
I would also say that the community that was created in the beginning through the campaign effort was very important and changed even what happened afterwards. Because we had an idea of the first proposal, but then as that community was created, we understood that maybe what we wanted wasn't even the most interesting thing. So it changed. So that's something that I think is really the key, the possibility of like the open source, you know, the openness of something you propose. And maybe for me the question that is most like urgent is that I feel that you need to do a lot of work behind to create the connection between the platform and how to make it real. And I'm not sure if that's correct, but if like you do need to connect to the official system or pathway.
I mean, that depends on how you're doing things, but I mean, this is obviously not a system for getting like grants for budget to do things. But if you want to, if that's something that you need to do, or if you need to get approval from the city or the municipality, then that obviously is going to be work behind the scenes. But if it's just about making your like plaza nicer, the small plaza that you live around, or whatever whatever it is, then you can just go and do it. And that's what I'm sort of saying, is that its best way is to start with a really small project, because when you have more people behind you, then it's easier to get more votes and to get grants, because there are money somehow, somewhere in most places. It's just how can you get to them, and how can you get to them with the things that the people want and that the people need, and not something like being thrown out of the window. But no, I see what you mean. Obviously, the bigger the projects become, the obviously more complicated, the more tricks you have to figure out how to make things work, for sure. But when you have the confidence of having done the smaller projects, then it becomes much easier. I'm not saying easy, but much easier. Well, possible, yeah. No, that's actually the point, actually. And you realize that the things are possible that you didn't think were possible before.
Also, my name is Sebastião. I'm from Warehouse, which is an architecture collective that has been developing some projects. Some are kind of similar also with the Patio Ambulante's work, because we work with tools, and with people also. And for now, we feel that, so we formed our group from 3 years from now, and we've been struggling a lot sometimes to get to the people that can fund our ideas and our collective ideas. And we feel that the answer, of course, it's by joining these platforms and to know all of these people that are working in the field. So sometimes we've been crossing, you feel that the people that really care for these projects, they encounter themselves lots of times. And so we really believe that it's a question of network and how to get to the fundings that you are talking about, because all of these ideas that you presented, well, some of them are really genuine. They don't need to be funded in a base, but when you want to take it to a bigger scale, you cannot start something without funding. Well, I believe in that. So in that way, I wanted to ask you, in this case, how many people this process needed to implement the platform?
Which of the cases?
In Reykjavik.
I don't have answer to this question sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult, but there were like the tens of thousands of people that participated in Reykjavik, but it was not the amount of participation that was the reason for the success. The reason for the success was twofold, and one was that we just had this economic crash, which most people know about, but the problem wasn't that, but the trust crash, in which people realized how corrupt everything was and didn't trust anymore in the institution and just in society. That's the real problem in Iceland, and that's actually the real problem in probably everywhere, if you see what I mean. It's not about economics, it's about trust, and it's about, I will not use worse words. So the thing is that what happened then was that we had been working with this platform since this crash, and 10 days before the elections in Reykjavik, we opened up this Better Reykjavik platform and sent it to all the parties running. And there was, just let me finish, and there was one party running that had like almost 40% in the polls. It's called the Best Party. Some of you may have heard of Gunnar, our former mayor. And they had no platform, they had no policy. They were going to put a polar bear in a children's petting zoo. They were going to give free towels to people. And
that was a huge, a very powerful campaign.
No, that was not. It was not the campaign. It was the people.
It was a group.
It had nothing to do with the campaign. The campaign was something that came on top and managed to ride the thing and make it more popular, obviously. But the main thing was that there were elections and the people trusted nobody, and this was a total joke party when it came out, and they had no intentions of running, of being in office even. I'm pretty sure Jon decided before he went running, I'm going to jump out of this unless I get to be mayor.
But
He's
what
never
were
told
the
me anything
tools?
like that.
What
But
were
what,
the
but
tools
sorry,
to
so just to
prove?
finish,
Yeah,
what
okay.
happens was that the people, not the people using the platform, but the people supporting just anything else when they fucked up old parties that have been like making a society much worse than it needs to be. So it didn't, I can't answer the question because the platform didn't have, I mean it just solidified
have a
it,
core-
and it connected
core
them to the
people.
grassroots and,
Okay.
and it solidified the vote because people realized, okay, maybe it's not just a joke party, maybe they're going to do something. But we opened the platform 10 days before and the best party was probably just talking then, and we think, but have no hard, well, we have hard data that can prove it, that the Better Reykjavik project solidified the road instead of them having gone further down before the elections. But nobody obviously knows. Sorry.
No, but I'd like to ask, like, what were the strategies or what were the tools to create this and to convince all the people to participate and to start the platform?
It was that the people were unhappy, and the best party offered them a tool for direct contact between the best party and the people. That's basically what happened.
5 years from now in Lisbon there was a movement, a movement that was created by 4 people, more or less, called Geração Arrasca, and it transformed into this huge manifestation manifestation, you said? Demonstration.
Yeah.
And then this I discovered some time ago that this little group of people got stronger and got politically involved, and now they have this association that is called Academia Cidadã, and well, you see that sometimes these little groups can really transform some. But I'm not sure also what are the results today of this.
I mean, the Better Neighborhoods project, which was like a participatory budgeting sub-project of Better Reykjavik, that has like a physical reality of, I think, more than 500 different projects in all the neighborhoods in Reykjavik that have somehow improved the sort of surroundings for the people. Just those immediate things. How do we live in our neighborhoods? On bigger scale decisions coming through Better Reykjavik. Not much in terms of big policy changes, because obviously the city makes a decision themselves on what they approve or what they don't approve. So policy changes obviously don't fit in there, if you see what I mean. But changes in different how things are approached in a different way in this part or in this project, there's definitely been an improvement in that in many cases. Well, just a simple one, but really nice one for both us and the tourists is that the main shopping street in Reykjavik most of it is closed to traffic in the summer now, and that was never done before it came up on Better Reykjavik. So just a simple thing, but it's mostly things like this. But yeah, sorry.
I just had an informational question. For Better Reykjavik, the projects that were implemented, what was the budget?
Oh, that's the Better Reykjavik website itself has no budget. That is like the communication between the citizens and the authorities. So if the authorities decide to do something that comes in from Better Reykjavik, then they just find the budget for exactly that issue. But the Better Neighborhood project, the ongoing PB, that has a budget. That's 2 different projects. But one has been below the other. That's why it's not there in the presentation anymore. It's too complicated. We are simplifying it now. And that has a budget of, what was it? 2 million euros in the past, but 3 million euros now for the first time.
For how many people?
For all 10 neighborhoods. Yes. And it's split in the same way that almost everybody seems to be doing this. It's one base amount for each neighborhood. Doesn't matter if it's big or small. And then on top of that, depending on how many people live in that neighborhood. So everybody gets at least enough to do something interesting, but the bigger neighborhoods with more people get more money.
Okay, but the Better Reykjavik, we decide, just an idea is decided, and then the government has the last word if they implement.
Yes.
And they search for funding, not the people that.
No, not the people. No, and I can see many ways, and this could be done in different ways. But let's put it this way. Again, I'm ecstatic about not having to deal with Icelandic Affairs anymore. That's basically because of the city of Reykjavik. And I've actually sort of, yeah, I'm really happy that Robert is doing it, because this kind of stuff needs someone with lots of patience to deal with the authorities, for sure. And if someone is interested, my friend Matiš in Slovenia has a wonderful long story about having dealt with the authorities there. So, sorry.
I was just wondering, besides implementing ideas, has the platform been able to stop any big project?
It's never been used in such a way. That's not true. It was tried to use it in such a way in the early days, and there was an idea that came in to ban the gay pride in Reykjavik. And gay pride in Reykjavik is not like in most cities. It's not like a parade you watch. It's a parade that everybody walks in and partakes in the parade. You watch it as well, but it ends with a huge parade. It's the second biggest festival, second or third biggest festival that we have in Iceland. So the idea was unthinkable, and we got notifications immediately, you have to turn this off. And we hardly ever do that, because most of the time things resolve themselves in the system. We don't want to be like top-down heavy. No, your stuff is not what we want. And we immediately got notification. We said, okay, let's wait a few minutes. And then just people were voting it down, and just poof. And nobody was seeing it after a few minutes. So it's like, in that sense, and another sense which I didn't go into, the software is quite a bit, well, not the software, but the community using the software is quite a bit self-regulating.
The community hasn't get together to stop something that was because I think a lot of times between funding or not funding and the economic interests of some ideas that citizens don't really want to see, you had to cross some...
I think a problem, and I know that that's a personal problem that I have had in the past, problem with many activists, that we want to change the world in one day instead of just changing our environment in 1 year. And I had that problem personally, so, yep, sorry.
Maybe the thing of proposing some projects or some ideas to be actually built in a positive way can work for public areas and squares and some streets, but maybe the blocking something from happening can actually change a lot of private investments that change more of the city than actually any square or street.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that's exploring that potential could be really important, because nowadays the biggest projects are made by private owners of big states of land that actually we have no power on.
No, I mean, in general, I totally agree, but in general the thing is that what it is that it takes some people to go for that issue, a lot of people. It also takes a lot of people to go for other issues, and I think we need to do all of those, because if you just go for one, whether it be what I'm talking about or whether it was you're talking about or something else, then we just get overrun as we have been before. Yeah. We need to tackle it all on a personal basis and make people realize that we're all really a community of people and not like of the people up there.
But like for instance, in Portuguese projects, usually there's a phase when they are big enough that you have some public where people actually can be engaged and can discuss the same things. And if this kind of software could be applied in these areas,
sure.
like actually people can change stuff if it's a big project from a big corporation or so on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the feedback thing, like people feeling they are actually changing things, that can help, because if it's a big thing that's going to be done and it's going to change a lot of, even create some
yeah, definitely. Yep.
The feedback can be really positive and engage people to the positive acts proposing and doing some.
No, definitely. I mean, I would never, and I try never to discourage anyone that says, but I think this is more important than what you're doing. I said, yes, then it is, and just go and do it, because that's the only way it works.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but we need to do all of it. Oh, sorry, I don't know which hand was. Maybe think.
I'm just wondering to what extent the online can let you have complexity that you can have in a discussion. Because what I found in meetings is that you have to deal, the most important thing to deal with is the conflicts and the trade-offs. And actually just looking at isolated projects is dangerous if you're not thinking about the whole neighbourhood, and maybe we have to sacrifice the park if we want to have more housing. The kind of more holistic.
It's number one, it's really complicated stuff. It's really, but I agree with you, I think. But the thing is that what we must have in the end when we start doing more complicated things and with like the broad pictures in mind, then artificial intelligence is probably the only thing that's going to work for us. the way that the world looks now and the way that I feel when I lose my telephone and all those things combined together, I think that not only mindsets will have to be changed, but also, I mean, I have slides there with our artificial intelligence virtual reality project, which we haven't had funding for except for a little part of yet. But it's imperative if you want people to participate and not get bored with it and like find out how to do this and how to do that, then we have to have something that is taking care of that for us. And I mean, the Pirate Party in Iceland right now has a homemade voting system that is just freaking people out because we have lots of new members and they just have no ideas how to find what they're going to vote for, just to give a simple example. So I think it's back here. I'm not going to do any more presentation. This is just one slide out of, sorry if it's out of context, out of our artificial intelligence virtual reality thing. So the next thing that happens after this, after her artificial intelligence has helped us with finding out what the issue is about and is created, she doesn't have to go out and find the information, it's just created for her with her own artificial intelligence that she controls, not Google or Facebook or NSA or whomever. And the next thing is that when she goes to the meeting, she can either go there in person and be there in the meeting square, or she can be in virtual reality in a place that looks exactly like this one, but she's just like one of the dots on the wall or at airside, and you can see on the monitor not only the people, or on your phone, not only people that are present, but also the people that are present online. And then we would have other things which I'm not going to talk about, but if you see what I mean, this is one way that is the most likely way at the moment to be our way of dealing with stuff like this. And it's both so scary and also so interesting that I don't know. Anybody heard of Skynet? Yes. That's Terminator, isn't it? Yeah. It's, like I said, it's both scary and really interesting as well. But the thing is that if we don't take this artificial intelligence and create open source software for us to use, then it's just going to be continued stuffed down our throat from Facebook, Google, etc. And I use Facebook, I use Google, but that doesn't mean that I like that Facebook controls what I see. And it feels like it's my newsfeed, but it's not. It's the newsfeed that Facebook wants me to see. And Google gives me search results that are based on what I've searched before. So if I look for my own stuff, it comes up at the top. Wow, nice. That's not, sorry.
Just to point out, there was an activist from London that about the referendum. He was asking why does the Facebook feed didn't show anybody that was in favor, because he was an activist against the leave, and somehow for him he never saw the winning part, and he was looking for the winning part and he didn't saw it.
And I'm having an argument on Facebook with the Pirate Party partners back, the sort of elected officials. I'm having an argument with two people in there that don't really believe that if we get like a PR spokesperson, a single spokesperson, then they don't really believe how powerful that person will be. Because the Pirate Party is decentralized. And this is like normal politics, to have one person as your spokesperson, as your peer person. And a lot of us just don't want that, because it gives that person so much exposure, and that makes that person much easier to get into being elected, and or maybe even do something dishonest in the process. So it's a tricky thing on all counts. But it's definitely possible, that's for sure. Sorry.
I have a question, like a bit to expand on what he introduced, because I feel as though like most of the time when we speak about participatory planning, participatory processes, like it's a little comment, but it's followed by a question. It's a little bit complicated, but like I feel as though like when we speak about participatory planning, we're talking about public. So we say what the public wants via so-called public institutions, right? And so it's geared at public participation. We draft a proposal, we give it to government, government applies it. What about in a context where you have not only conflict of interest, but you have the actual state apparatus alienating not only services, but spaces and whatnot. So like when it comes to actually influencing the public sphere, there's loads of success stories like like perhaps you want a street to be closer to traffic, that's fine. If that street is public, that's fine, right? But what about when a squares privatized. What about, if we go a little further, what about people who, for example, might have a housing issue, and you have a context where a lot of the housing is in the hands, not only of private hands, but a lot of the housing that's in public hands is now being sold. Like it's happening right now in Lisbon, right? So the actual so-called public administration is kicking people out of any public housing that may be in the center, so they can sell it off to private interests. So my question to you, and it's more of a rhetorical question, but I hope you have an answer for me, is do you have a case, like in Reykjavik, where this process was used specifically to counter private initiative or perhaps people's will, and you actually were able to encroach upon private?
No, you ruined it with the last one. Before, with the last comment, you ruined the answer. But before that, unfortunately, no. There was an example. There was a like an area between houses that had like been torn down way back, which had turned into like a sort of just local people, punks, anarchists, creating with like a really nice build with graffiti and stuff. But then obviously there had to be a hotel there, and the people tried to do that on Better Reykjavik to stop it. It was a really popular idea, and it went into the city council. But the answer was the same as usual. Well, the planning regulations say that this is such and such. So the thing is that in that sense, if we play by the rules of the administration, in that sense it came too late. But obviously it would have been like 20 years ago, something like that, and then the garden wasn't there. So, but no, I mean, the thing is that that's one of the things with this active citizen. Well, since I'm leaving it up, I can just as well not have the same one all the time. Is that in order to stop stuff like this, we obviously have to know about it before it happens, and then we need the data to be open, if you see what I mean. There are all those facets to it. We need to have the data to be open. We need to have artificial intelligence stuff. This is, sorry, just to make clear, just so everybody knows, there's nothing intelligent about this stuff. This is called algorithms, this is called lots of names, this is just the one that most people know. This is not real artificial intelligence. It's just stuff that's clever at adding numbers and finding out what you want or what you like or what you do. Just to be clear on that. What I was saying is that we need to have the data open, and then we need our AI stuff to be watching that data all the time. And when something comes in that is in conflict with the public interest, then that AI has to know and notify someone, we need to do something now, if you see what I mean. And then send in directly to the city, you cannot do this because of that, because of that, because of that. Crowdsourcing legal arguments and stuff like that. The problem is we don't have the tools for doing it this smoothly yet. But we can still do quite a bit of things by monitoring things in different ways. There is, if the data is open, then there is probably an XML stream there. And you can put in a simple monitor that will notify you if this keyword or whatever comes. If you see what I mean, there's a lot of stuff possible, but we don't have this one box that does everything, and I actually don't think we will. If you see what I mean. And I don't think I want it. I think I want many little boxes that do this for us, that do that for us, that connects us in that way. Let's say we want this meeting to be online as well, just on a video, and we need Google, YouTube Live or something like that, but something that is one click and everybody can start it. And actually, Google is, and Facebook are giving us a lot of tools that we can use, but we have to use them in the right way. Don't do debate on Facebook. Don't keep data on Facebook. No, seriously, this is just like very, very simple 2 rules. Never do this. If you need to do a debate, find something else. Use our stuff, use Lumio, I don't care what you use. But don't use Facebook. Use Facebook to tell people, make groups, which are just to tell people, oh, we have a meeting now, or we have to use Facebook for the information, just giving out to people. But to keep the information, you have to do it differently. And I mean, we use Google Docs mostly. I'm not saying that's a dream, but at least it's not as bad as Facebook, because most of the time we can find the stuff there. But on Facebook, you can't find anything a couple of weeks after you posted it, unless you have infinite patience, which I don't. But yeah, no real answer. But I'm definitely sure it's possible. But we need to find out. Like in this case, they say it's too late. Okay, we need to be earlier. Like the Icelandic Parliament, it sends out new laws. I regularly get emails saying, "Do you want to comment on this law?" Because somebody sometime like said I should do something. And that's just human thing, but that's something that obviously should be automatic. Yeah, sure, go. No.
It's just that my question, like, it was real, it wasn't rhetorical, but I kind of guessed that your answer would be no. And what I meant by that is that I love participatory processes and I think it's really exciting, but my only contribution to is that maybe there's like an elephant in the room type of thing, is that we need to, when we frame participatory politics, always regarding the so-called public institutions, perhaps we need to first and foremost work on the characterization of what they are and how they work, and thereafter actually try to apply these kind of concepts of public power and include not only public institutions, but all things so-called private. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about trying to negotiate and reconfigure private interests so we can all live together, let's say in the city, happily ever after. And so if we keep on framing, if we keep on limiting our vision of what participatory politics can be with this type of language, and especially in these terms of us, the public, being informed and being allowed to express ourselves and then presenting our ideas for government to apply it or not, I feel as though it's really good, but perhaps we need to go a little bit further.
We definitely need to go that, yeah.
We demand, and the kind of process that we're trying to promote, perhaps we need to go a little bit further, and if we really trust people's knowledge, like for example...
Yeah, but the thing is, I totally agree with you, except when you use, go further and next, because it's not a sequential process, and we're not on a line. We're going like in different directions and different stuff, but I totally agree with what you're saying still, but so if you feel like it is further, then it is further for you, and it's just in a different direction for me, if you see what I mean. But I totally agree that we need to do that as well. We need to push on all ends.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a comment about this, that actually in Germany, participatory processes started a very long while ago, and they are not perfect. They don't work fantastically well. They are never going to be, probably, I don't know, maybe, but like there will always be something to
improve upon.
To improve, but there is. The presentations always have all the parties involved, and that you actually have the people that are responsible for, I don't know, architecture, urbanism, laws, anything. Then people that live in the neighborhood, then people that invest, and the
also private.
Yes, private and public institutions that do this, and you can actually do have a vote. So if they are showing a plan about how reusing an industrial building, which happens a lot in Berlin, then you can actually say if it's okay or not, if you think it's going to affect the neighborhood in what way.
Excellent.
And I'm telling you, it doesn't work excellently, but...
is it binding?
But this system exists in Portugal as well.
Right.
Like it's mandatory. Everyone has to. There's always, as I said before, a discussion public, a public discussion of every project. The things that many times it doesn't have the tools enough to reach people and to engage people. Because it has like around 1 month or something that people actually have this power here in Portugal. In the law.
Yes, but that's the thing that actually I think this works a bit better in Germany because it started long ago. So people actually see this stuff. They search for this stuff. And it's not that everybody's engaged and everything works fantastically, but you have a lot of different people that actually go to this. And they form groups, and these groups then are active and they have representatives. So actually I think that you have to start from somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
And then it develops.
And maybe this tool could be used in this kind of context as well.
But like she was saying, I think that the feeling of like just walking around near your house or near your work, and there was something that you even just only voted for online, and it's sort of it's a little bit, and the more little bits, the bigger it becomes. But I'm definitely not against people with big ideas. I love big ideas, but I'm sort of going down to myself a bit.
I want to comment on that because I think it's a lot. The discussion is a lot about having ideas that are small scale and something that has more impact in society. But for instance, here a couple of weeks ago, and it's sad that Antonio Brito Guterres was not here because he was he organized a debate on the housing issue in Lisbon, called "Who is going to be able to live in Lisbon?" And it was organized in a it was very fast. They had little time, and also using the tools like Facebook and connecting, I don't know, networking around Facebook. Yeah.
Gunnar was also part of the organization.
Yes, it's true. It's true. I didn't see. Sorry. Yes, it worked very well. And yes, like I was very happy to see the patio of the Trienal full of people interested in discussing this. But I feel that these small steps are necessary, even though the issue probably is about legislation and about how many hotels are there in Lisbon and about private investment and everything. But the little steps still are missing, and that's why you get a movement and full of people, and then we feel lost. Like, what's next? And
we don't have this in our upbringing. We don't have this in our education. It's just like every 4 years vote, and that's all you're supposed to do. And it takes too long, but it takes quite a bit of time to raise people up with the outlook that you're supposed to have a say. Because most people don't think, oh no, I voted for him and he does something stupid. Well, just don't vote for him next time. But that's so stupid. It doesn't have to be that way anymore.
No, this issue, like the housing issue, it has to be like the analysis of the data is very important. The follow-up with the laws is very important, but you have to follow it all the time.
Yeah, but if we don't have the roots, if we don't have the sort of root understanding of what it is and how we are supposed to do it, then we cannot do the big stuff well, I think. But if someone proves me wrong, I'll be really happy.
I agree with it.
Actually, I have just one last question, if there is no one else.
I would have just one small one, I guess. Like, do you have any case, like that this was applied in the suburbs, like in some not concentrated urban area? Because that's most of the area in urban places in Portugal. Like, is there any case already applied where people could try to change some stuff, like in the suburbs, in the not really concentrated dense urban areas?
Not that I can recall. I mean, the thing with Reykjavik is that by your definition there are no suburbs. It's like just one neighborhood or one small neighborhood in Lisbon or something like that. So,
like in Poland, for instance,
yeah, I'm not. I think the problem is that I'm hammering on them. I need English, but I don't. They don't even send me the Polish stuff because I can't read Polish. No, but definitely would. Like if someone is interested, there's at least a couple of contacts over there that it would be.
I don't agree with the idea that it's very difficult to put people on participation. And I don't agree because when I live in Alfama, and when I talk with people, if I'm sure if I'm asking them, what do you think about tourism? They are, oh, it's good because we have more money, we have the neighborhood is more dynamic, and we have more people. But if we made another kind of question, if we are talking about housing, or we are talking about noise, or we are talking about other kind of problems, we are going to get other answers. And we did it in Moraria, Academia Cidadã. We did it in Moraria. We did a master class there, and we were talking with a lot of people of the community. And most people they didn't think they could do anything. But in Alfama, there were 4 people who decided not to go out of the houses after the building was bought by a new owner. They told, we don't go. And in reality, it was a building who was needing works. So the owner had the right to put people out. And but they told, no, we don't go. One of them became ill, seriously ill. She had a stroke. But they don't go They didn't go out. And now they are negotiating with the owners how to stay. So everybody can tell no if people, or yes, if people know that they can't tell it. And but most people, they don't know. They just don't know. They think we have to obey, or it's just the fado, and we can't do anything. But in reality, people are. If we become interested by people and we are talking with them, oh, your building was bought, so what are you going to do? People become very, very happy because you are interested on them. So I guess that what I learned in Moraria is that there's a lot of frontiers between us and people and other people. A lot of frontiers. We don't talk easily normally with other people. So they don't feel we are interested on them. Really. Maybe we are very cool, we have nice ideas, but we are not really connected with people. And this is the main thing. And the other main thing is that we have to believe. That's why I'm here. It's because I believe. That's because I believe. I could be elsewhere. I could be writing or be with my friends, and I'm here because I believe we can do something. In Academia Cidadã, we did three cine café about the mass tourism and the impact of mass tourism in Lisbon. We did one tertulia in Renovar a Moraria. We did a master class. We didn't know anything about tourism. We didn't know. And after the master class, I was invited to participate in that citizen group. It's a citizen group, not an organization, in Trienal. So what we did, it was another level. It was to study the problem of housing on account of the transformation of the city, on account of the speculative real estate, and on account of the massive tourism. And so we studied really the problem. It was different, but and after on Facebook and with the collaboration of some groups, with all the people you knew that could be interested on. So and I never felt that people was not interested on. People were very interested on.
I have to, actually, thank you very much. I have to second that, is that people in Iceland, at least, they just seem to have been waiting to be able to participate. And I think this comes out of when things are not the way you want them to be and you have no outlet, how can I do it? And I'm not saying something like this will cure violence, but I think some of the energy that goes into violence could have been channeled into something else if there were more of a community and less of a top-down control of everything. But we have definitely a long way to go, but the reason I'm here is the same as her, that I believe I've been doing this since 2008, mostly pro bono, and that's just that I really believe that we can change the world, and I can actually feel that I've changed my own world incredibly much in those years. And it has given me so much to believe in my heart and go with what I think is possible, that definitely, if only on that level, it's so much more than worth it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, Gunnar, for being here. We are going to have dinner if someone wants to join us. Thank you all for being here, and you have contacts of Gunnar, or I'll be able to make the contact if you need. Thank you very much, John.